Well, this is hilarious. Biden is warning that Iran may be a retaliation attack against Israel for them attacking their embassy in Syria, which means that, Iran is just using their right to self-defense against Israel, and what we're supposed to side with Israel because they attacked the embassy in Syria that belonged to Iran and killed people. Like, you know, what did Israel expect to happen when they decided to attack two different nations? I mean, what? Do they think they only have the right to self-defense and no other nation around them does?
Tonight, new fears of a possible major escalation of the war in the Middle East, with President Biden warning Iran may be planning to hit targets inside Israel soon.
They're threatening to launch a significant attack on Israel. As I told Prime Minister Netanyahu, our commitment to Israel's security against these threats from Iran and its proxies is ironclad.
Iran eyeing.
Right, so that means if Israel attacks whatever nation that they decide to, uh, the lapdogs, that is the United States, are going to come protect the Israeli government, even when they're the ones committing the crimes.
Retaliation for strikes last week on a diplomatic building in Syria that killed several Iranian commanders, which it blames on Israel. Iran, a primary backer of both Hamas and Hezbollah. Two U.S. officials tell NBC News any retaliation inside Israel is expected to focus on military and intelligence targets, not civilians, and that the Biden.
Well, since it's a quote-unquote war zone, uh, it's no big deal that the military intelligence targets are off because, hey, it's a war.
Administration is considering options for how to respond. Also tonight, growing tensions over a new Israeli airstrike in Gaza. Israel saying the attack killed 3 adult sons of a top Hamas leader, who they say were Hamas operatives, including a commander. Hamas says the strike also killed 4 of his grandchildren. During today's state visit for Japan's prime minister, President Biden demanding Hamas accept the latest ceasefire offer that includes returning the.
Okay, are you going to demand the Israeli government to also return hostages that they kidnap? Because since October 7th, the Israeli government has kidnapped like 9 to 10,000 people, a lot of them being kids.
Hostages, including Americans held by Hamas.
There's a now up to Hamas. They need to move on the proposal that's been made. We'll get these hostages home where they belong.
Tonight, former hostage Aviva Siegel, whose husband Hirsch Siegel is still being held, tells NBC's Andrea Mitchell it's time for results.
Somebody needs to help. And I'm begging Biden to be strong enough, stronger than Hamas.
The president's policy toward the war has sparked.
I mean, it's not like the United States and the Israeli government truly cares about the hostages. I mean, the IDF has killed several Israeli hostages and nothing has happened besides, them being considered to be justified in murdering hostages. And when Americans are killed in Gaza or the West Bank, the United States cares very little about that going on. There was an American Palestinian that was killed in the West Bank by an Israeli settler terrorist, and Biden just put sanctions on them, like that, affected anything. Biden didn't care if Americans are killed.
Protests. Another challenge for the Biden campaign, the economy. With today's headline that inflation ticked up again, even higher than expected. Housing and gas prices accounting for most of it. Overall, prices up nearly.
Isn't it funny how tons of people were screaming that if you uh, increased the minimum wage, that prices would go up on everything, and the federal minimum wage is still $7.25, and the prices of everything has still gone up. So they're fear-mongering about the minimum wage was nothing but a lie, And these corporations that are raking in profits hand over fist should be criticized for them increasing the prices of their goods for no reason but the sake of siphoning money from the poor people.
19% since President Biden took office. Former President Trump tonight.
Biden has totally lost control of inflation. It's back. It's raging back.
President Biden saying he's made tremendous progress.
We have dramatically reduced inflation from 9% down to close to 3%. My opposition talks about two things. They just want to cut.
Yeah, who cares? What have you done about helping increase the minimum wage from $7.25 to something better? You got nothing about that.
Cut taxes for the wealthy and raise taxes on other people.
Peter, let me ask you about new signs tonight of former President Trump's grip on House Republicans.
Lester, conservative Republicans just blocked an effort to extend a controversial spying law that intelligence officials say is critical to protecting Americans from terrorists and other foreign threats. It is another blow.
Right, because the United States needs to spy on Americans and others in order to protect the United States from terrorists when they're the biggest terrorist in the world. That is just a big old laugh. I mean, the United States will go into other nations and murder innocent people and then act like they're the good guys.
To the Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson after Mr. Trump urged lawmakers to kill it.